It was a cold and lonely evening. Daniel sat inside his small apartment, staring at the single candle on top of a cheap birthday cake. He had just turned 27, but there was no one around to celebrate with him. His parents lived far away. His friends were busy with their own lives, and his phone had not received a single birthday call all day. The silence in the room felt heavy. Daniel sighed, cutting a small piece of cake. He tried to smile, but it looked more like a sad expression. "Happy birthday to me," he whispered. He did not know that tonight his life was about to change forever. Just as he took the first bite, the doorbell rang. Daniel jumped a little. He was not expecting anyone. Carefully, he walked to the door and opened it. There was no one outside. Only the empty hallway with its flickering light bulb, but on the ground right in front of his door sat a black box. The box was strange. It had no tape, no address, no name, just smooth black metal that seemed to shine faintly under the weak hallway light. Daniel looked left and right, but the hallway was empty. Whoever left the box was gone. Curiosity won over fear. Daniel carried the box inside. It was heavy, but not too heavy, almost as if it wanted him to pick it up. He placed it on the table, staring at it with wide eyes. For a moment he wondered if it was a prank, maybe from a friend. But none of his friends cared enough to do something like this. His fingers trembled as he touched the surface. The box was warm. He pulled his hand back, shocked. "What the hell is this?" he whispered. Slowly, he pressed his palm against the top again. The warmth grew stronger, almost alive. Then, without warning, the box clicked. A faint line of blue light spread across its surface. Daniel gasped and stepped back. The box opened on its own, releasing a soft hum, like the sound of electricity. From inside the glowing box, a woman appeared. She did not step out. She simply materialized, as if she was made of light and then became real. Daniel froze. The woman was unlike anyone he had ever seen. She was tall, graceful, with glowing blue eyes and hair that shimmered like silver under the light. Her skin looked smooth and almost luminous, as if she carried the stars within her. She wore a simple, flowing suit of alien fabric that moved like water. For a long moment, Daniel could not breathe. His heart pounded in his chest. He blinked once, twice, thinking maybe he was dreaming. But the woman was real. She looked at him, her eyes calm but filled with something strange. Sadness, maybe curiosity. Then she spoke, her voice soft and clear, though her accent was strange. "I was sent here, for you." Daniel's mouth went dry. "For me? Who are you?" The woman tilted her head slightly. "My name is Solara. I come from a place far away. Very far. I was sent as a gift on this day, your day of birth." Daniel stumbled back, his chair falling behind him. He could not believe what he was hearing. A gift? From where? From who? His mind filled with questions. This is crazy. None of this makes sense. You can't just appear out of a box. Solara stepped closer, her movements slow and smooth, like someone not used to walking in human air. And yet, here I am. The candle on his cake flickered wildly as if even the flame was nervous. Daniel's breath grew heavy. He didn't know if he should run, call the police, or simply faint. But then he noticed something outside his window. A shadow. A movement. Someone, or something, was standing in the darkness. Daniel froze again. His apartment was on the 3rd floor. No one should be outside that window. Slowly he walked closer, peeking through the glass. For just a second he saw it. A tall, dark figure with glowing red eyes staring back at him from the shadows. And then, it vanished. Daniel's heart pounded louder than ever. He turned back to Solara. "What is happening? Who sent you? Who is out there?" Solara's glowing eyes narrowed slightly. She seemed calm, but there was a tension in her voice. "Now, you are being watched. They want to see how you react. You must not be afraid." Her words only made Daniel more afraid. He grabbed his phone, his fingers shaking, ready to call someone, anyone. But the screen suddenly went black. His phone was dead. Not even the power button worked. The lights in the room flickered, the candle went out. Silence filled the apartment, broken only by the faint hum of the black box still sitting on the table. Solara stepped closer to him, placing a hand on his shoulder. Her touch was warm, almost comforting, but her words were not. This is only the beginning. Tonight your life changes forever. Daniel stared at her, his fear mixing with confusion. Outside the window, the shadow returned, this time closer, clearer. Its red eyes glowed brighter and the glass shook as if something powerful pressed against it. Daniel whispered, almost to himself, "What have I gotten into?" Solara looked at him with those glowing blue eyes and said, "You will soon understand. But first you must survive." And just as she spoke those words, the window cracked, thin lines spreading across the glass like spiderwebs. The shadow outside moved again, pressing harder. Daniel knew then. Whatever was happening, it was far from a gift. The room was silent after the glass cracked. Daniel stood frozen, his eyes locked on the window where the shadow had just been. His heart pounded like a drum inside his chest. He wanted to run, but his legs refused to move. Solara remained calm, her glowing blue eyes fixed on him. "Do not be afraid," she said softly, though her voice carried a strange weight, like someone who knew far more than she was saying. Daniel finally found his voice. "Afraid? You appear out of a box, my phone dies, the lights flicker, and there's something with red eyes outside my window. I think I should be afraid." Solara tilted her head, almost as if studying him. "Fear is natural, but fear will also blind you. You must listen." Daniel shook his head. "Listen? To what? You haven't even told me why you're here. What are you? What do you want from me?" For a moment, Solara said nothing. She walked slowly across the room, her hand brushing over the black box. The box glowed faintly under her touch, as if it recognized her. "I was sent here," she began, her voice calm but distant. "Because you are different." Daniel frowned. "Different? I'm just a normal guy. I work a boring job. I barely have friends. Nothing about me is special." Her glowing eyes turned back to him, and she stepped closer. "That is what you believe, but those who sent me, they see something inside you. A potential. A strength." Daniel laughed nervously. "Potential? I don't even have the potential to keep a goldfish alive. Why would anyone, anything, care about me?" Solara's expression softened, almost sad. "Because your kind is being tested, and you were chosen to represent them." The words hit Daniel like a punch to the chest. "Tested by who? You keep talking in riddles." Before Solara could answer, the lights flickered again. The cracked window rattled. This time, Daniel clearly saw a tall, machine-like figure step out from the shadows outside. Its body was black metal, its arms sharp like blades. Red eyes glowed as it pressed a hand against the glass, leaving burning marks. Daniel stumbled back. "What the hell is that?" Solara raised her hand. The air in the room shimmered, and the sound of humming energy filled the space. "It is a watcher, sent to observe, and if needed, to destroy." The glass bent inward, but then, suddenly, the figure outside vanished, like smoke dissolving into the night. The room grew silent again, as if nothing had been there. Daniel's knees weakened, and he sat down hard on his chair. His hands trembled. This can't be real. I'm losing my mind." Solara looked at him, her face calm but serious. "It is real, and you must face it. The truth is simple. I am not here as a gift. Not in the way you think. I am here to watch you, to see how you react, to see how far a human can go." Daniel's throat went dry. "So, what? You're spying on me like some alien lab experiment?" Her eyes softened again. "No, Not spying, guiding, helping. But if you fail, if you prove unworthy, then Earth— She paused, searching for words. Earth will not survive what is coming. Daniel's heart sank. The words echoed in his head. Earth will not survive. He stood up quickly, his voice shaking with anger and fear. You can't just say that. You can't just show up on my birthday and tell me the world is ending unless I pass some test. That's insane. Solara didn't flinch. And yet, it is true. Daniel stared at her, his breathing uneven. Then answer me this, why me? Out of billions of people, why me? Solara walked toward him, her silver hair shimmering in the dim light. She placed her hand lightly against his chest. The warmth of her touch spread through him, calming his panic for a moment. Because you have something rare, she whispered. You have courage hidden beneath doubt. You have strength hidden beneath weakness. The rulers chose you because even you do not see what you are capable of. Daniel swallowed hard. For the first time, he saw something in her eyes, something human. It wasn't just duty or orders. There was a quiet sadness, a trace of conflict. You don't want to do this, do you? Daniel asked softly. Her expression tightened. She turned away, hiding her face. I was created for this, trained for this. It is my purpose. But that's not what I asked, Daniel said, his voice low. I asked what you want. Solara froze, her back to him. For a long moment there was silence, then she whispered, almost too quietly to hear. I don't know. The words made Daniel's skin crawl with unease. She wasn't just some alien, weapon or tool. She was conflicted, maybe even trapped. Before Daniel could say anything more, the box on the table suddenly glowed brighter. Strange symbols. The night was heavy with silence. Daniel sat on the edge of his couch, staring at the glowing black box as if it were a ticking bomb. The strange symbols on its surface still burned in his memory, each line and curve alive with a meaning he could not understand. Across the room, Solara stood perfectly still, her glowing blue eyes locked on the window where the red eyes had appeared before. She looked calm, but Daniel could sense tension in her body, like a wild animal waiting to strike. Finally, Daniel spoke. His voice cracked under the pressure. You said if I fail, they erase me. They erase Earth. What does that even mean? Who are they? Solara turned her gaze to him, her face unreadable. The rulers. Beings older than your son. They observe worlds. They decide which ones live and which ones fall. Daniel shook his head. That's insane. No one has the right to decide who lives and dies. Her lips curved into something between a smile and a frown, and yet they do. They have done it for thousands of years. Daniel leaned back, running his hand through his hair. So I'm supposed to, what? Prove that humans are worth keeping? I'm just one guy. Solara stepped closer. One man can change more than you believe, Daniel scoffed. Yeah, sure. I can't even keep my rent paid on time. I'm no hero. Before he could say more, Solara raised her hand. The air in the room shimmered. Daniel's fallen chair slid across the floor without anyone touching it. His mouth dropped open. What did you just do? He whispered. I moved it, Solara said simply. No, you didn't move it. Chairs don't move by themselves. Her calm expression never changed. She raised her other hand. Daniel's phone, still dead from earlier, lifted into the air, floating like a feather. It hovered in front of him, spinning slowly. Daniel reached out, his hand shaking. He touched the phone, and instantly it dropped into his palm. His skin tingled where it had been. Telekinesis, Daniel muttered. You can move things with your mind. Solara nodded. That is one of many abilities I was given. Daniel's eyes widened. Many. What else can you do? For a moment, Solara looked reluctant, but then she held her palm out. A small cut appeared on her own hand, just a thin red line. Daniel gasped, but before his shock could settle, the wound closed before his eyes. the skin sealed, smooth as if it had never been cut. Daniel stood up, his voice rising. "You can heal yourself? That's impossible." Solara looked at him firmly. "Not impossible, just different from what you know." Daniel's mind spun. His body shook with fear and awe. But then something strange happened. Solara tilted her head slightly, her eyes glowing brighter. "Your heart," she whispered. Daniel frowned. "What about my heart?" "You are afraid, but also, you are curious." Daniel's eyes narrowed. "Wait, you can read my thoughts?" Solara looked at him with quiet intensity. "Not all. Only what is strongest inside you. Your fear, your doubt, your questions." Daniel backed away, panic rushing over him. "Stay out of my head." Solara's expression softened. "I do not mean harm, but it is part of what I am. I feel what you feel. I hear the loudest parts of your mind. And right now, your fear is louder than anything." Daniel clenched his fists. "Of course I'm afraid. My life was normal yesterday, and now I'm some kind of lab rat in an alien experiment." Solara stepped closer, her glowing aura washing over him. "You are not a lab rat. You are hope." Her words cut through his anger, leaving only confusion. "Hope? For what?" Before Solara could answer, the room shook. The cracked window rattled again. Daniel spun toward it, his stomach twisting. The red eyes were back, but this time the figure was clearer. It was a machine, tall, metallic, with long limbs and glowing red patterns carved into its chest. Its face had no mouth, only two burning eyes. Daniel's breath caught in his throat. "It's back." Solara's voice grew sharp. "Stay behind me." The glass finally gave way. With a loud shatter, the machine forced its way inside, its heavy frame landing on the floor with a metallic thud. Daniel stumbled backward. The machine raised its bladed arm, pointing it at him. But before it could strike, Solara's hand shot out. A pulse of blue energy exploded from her palm. The machine flew backward, smashing against the wall. Sparks rained from its body, and it let out a screeching metallic roar. Daniel's eyes widened. You just threw it like a toy." Solara did not answer. She was already moving, her hands glowing brighter, releasing arcs of energy that burned against the machine's armor. It swung its blade at her, but she caught it with one hand. Her grip melted the metal as if it were wax. In seconds, the machine collapsed, its red eyes fading into darkness. Smoke rose from its ruined body. Daniel stood frozen, unable to believe what he had seen. You destroyed it, like it was nothing." Solara turned to him, her breathing steady. "It was only a scout. There will be more." Daniel shook his head violently. "More? I can't do this. I can't fight machines and aliens. I'm just a guy who works in an office." Solara stepped closer, her voice calm but firm. "You are more than that. You must believe it, or everything will be lost." Daniel's chest rose and fell with panic. He wanted to deny her, to scream at her, to run away, but deep down, a tiny voice whispered that she might be right. The black box on the table glowed again, the same cold metallic voice echoing through the room. "First trial complete. Human subject shows potential. Continue observation." Daniel closed his eyes, his whole body trembling. This wasn't just about him anymore. Whatever this was, it was bigger, much bigger, and for the first time he wondered if Solara had been sent not just as a test, but also as his only chance to survive. The destroyed machine still smoked in the corner of the room. Daniel could smell burnt metal mixed with the sharp scent of ozone. His mind screamed at him to wake up, to treat all of this as a nightmare. But the broken window, the glowing box, and Solara standing in front of him with shining blue eyes reminded him that this was no dream. Solara's calm voice broke the silence. "That was only a scout. More will come. They will not stop until you are tested." Daniel rubbed his forehead, his hands trembling. Tested? You mean hunted? Before Solara could answer, the black box pulsed with light again. Strange symbols danced across its surface, glowing brighter and faster. Daniel stepped back, afraid of what might happen next. Then the apartment shook. A loud humming sound filled the air, like a swarm of insects. Daniel's stomach dropped as he moved toward the shattered window. Outside, the night sky was no longer empty. Dark shapes hovered above the city, drones. Sleek, metallic creatures with glowing red eyes, hundreds of them floating like predators circling prey. Their hum was sharp and cold, echoing across the rooftops. Daniel's mouth went dry. They're everywhere. Solara stepped to the window, her expression calm but sharp. The attack begins. The first drone dived, smashing through Daniel's neighbor's window across the street. Sparks flew and screams echoed faintly in the distance. Daniel's chest tightened. My neighbors! People are out there. We have to warn them. Solara turned to him, her eyes glowing brighter. You cannot save everyone. You must focus. The rulers are watching you. Her words cut deep, Daniel's fists clenched. So people die because of me? Because of some test? Before Solara could respond, a drone slammed into his apartment. The force knocked Daniel to the floor. Sparks rained as the machine aimed a glowing red weapon at him. Move! Solara shouted. A pulse of blue energy burst from her hand, smashing the drone against the wall. Metal crumpled, but another drone flew in right after, firing a blast of red light that scorched the couch. Daniel scrambled behind the table, his heart hammering. I don't have weapons. I can't fight these things. Solara destroyed the second drone with a sharp strike of energy. Her movements were fast, almost graceful, but Daniel could see the strain on her face. She was powerful, yes, but not invincible. The apartment shook again as more drones swarmed in through the broken window. Their glowing eyes lit the room with a red haze. Daniel ducked as beams of energy cut through his walls. Pictures fell, glass shattered, smoke filled the air. He coughed, fear gripping his chest like a vice. Solara moved faster, her hands glowing brighter, each strike releasing shockwaves of blue force. Drones exploded one after another, but for every one that fell, two more appeared. Daniel grabbed a broken metal pipe from the floor, his hands shaking. He knew it was useless against machines, but the human instinct to fight back burned inside him. A drone dived toward him, its bladed arm raised. Daniel swung the pipe wildly, hitting it hard across the head. Sparks flew, and though it wasn't destroyed, the impact sent it crashing into the wall. Solara glanced at him, her expression unreadable. Good. You are beginning to resist. Daniel panted, sweat dripping from his face. Resist? That thing almost killed me. Solara's reply was cut short as three more drones surrounded her, firing in unison. Blue energy shields appeared around her body, but Daniel could see the strain in her eyes. He knew she couldn't hold forever. The black box glowed again, and the cold metallic voice filled the room. Second trial initiated. Human subject must act. Daniel froze. Act? What do they mean? Solara shouted, her shield cracking under the barrage. It means you must fight, not just hide, not just survive. Fight. Daniel's chest tightened. His whole life he had been ordinary. A man who avoided fights, who never took risks. But now, with death in front of him, something inside him stirred. He grabbed the pipe again. A drone swooped low, targeting Solara while her shield flickered. Daniel ran forward, adrenaline taking over. With a scream, he jammed the pipe into the drone's eye. Sparks exploded as it crashed to the ground. Another drone turned toward him, weapon glowing. Daniel's heart stopped, but Solara's hand shot out, blasting it to pieces before it could fire. For a moment, silence filled the smoke-filled apartment. Broken machines littered the floor. Daniel's chest heaved, his arms shaking. But for the first time, he felt something strange. Power. Solara's voice was soft but strong. You fought. Not perfectly, not with skill, but with courage. This is what they want to see. Daniel dropped the pipe, his knees weak. Courage won't stop 100 drones. Solara looked out the window. The sky was alive with red lights. The hum grew louder. Dozens more drones swarmed, surrounding the building. She turned to him, her expression serious. You are right. Courage alone will not save you. But courage is the beginning. The black box pulsed again. The voice returned, colder than before. Subject shows resistance, escalation required, release the enforcer. Daniel's blood ran cold. The enforcer? What the hell is that? The drones outside parted like obedient soldiers making way for a king. From the sky descended a larger shape, towering, armored, its red eyes brighter than fire. Its footsteps shook the earth as it landed on the street below. Daniel stared out. The window, his heart pounding in his ears. The enforcer was massive, 3 times the size of the scouts, with weapons fused into its arms. It looked less like a machine and more like a monster built for war. Solara's glowing eyes narrowed. Her calm voice held a new edge. This is no longer a trial. This is war. The enforcer stood in the street like a giant shadow made of steel. Its body glowed with lines of red light, each pulse beating like a heart of fire. Its head tilted, upward, locking its blazing eyes on Daniel's broken window. Daniel's throat went dry. His legs trembled as he whispered, "That thing is here for me, isn't it?" Solara's glowing blue eyes narrowed. Yes. It is the final part of this stage of the trial. If you survive this, you will prove yourself worthy. If not, she paused. Then your world begins to die. Daniel's stomach twisted. Why me? Why does it all come down to me? Solara did not answer at first. She stood tall, her silver hair moving with the faint wind that blew through the shattered window. Finally, she said, "Because humans are unpredictable. The rulers need proof you can stand when everything is against you. And you were chosen." Daniel felt anger rising in his chest. Chosen? More like trapped. This isn't a choice. This is torture. Solara's expression softened. You are right. But listen, Daniel. The enforcer is not just here to fight you. It is here to test your heart. You must decide. Do you fight for yourself or do you fight for something greater? Her words echoed in his mind. Daniel looked out at the glowing monster. People were screaming in the streets below, running from the sight of the machine. Windows shattered as its footsteps cracked the pavement. Daniel clenched his fists. If I fight, I die. If I run, others die. What kind of choice is that? Solara stepped closer, her voice calm but sharp. It is the only choice that matters. The enforcer raised one of its massive arms. A blast of red energy shot into the sky, exploding like a warning flare. The drones around it buzzed louder, circling like vultures. Daniel backed away from the window, his chest heaving. I can't do this. I'm not a soldier. I'm not a hero. I'm just me. Solara touched his shoulder. The warmth of her hand spread through him, steadying his panic. Do you think I was sent because I believed in this test? No. I was sent because I was ordered. I was told to guide you, to push you. But in truth, she paused, her eyes softening. I don't want to see you die, not you. Daniel met her gaze. For the first time, he saw something human in her. Fear. Not for herself, but for him. Solara, he whispered. You don't want to do this, do you? Her voice cracked slightly. I was created for it. But I am changing. Being here, with you, I feel something I never felt before. I do not want to be their weapon anymore. Daniel's breath caught. Then stand with me. Not for them. Not for their test. Stand with me. For us. For a moment, silence filled the smoke-filled room. Then Solara nodded. Yes. For us. The enforcer moved. Its heavy steps shook the EI building. Daniel and Solara watched as it raised both arms, aiming directly at their apartment. Move! Solara shouted. The blast struck. The entire room exploded in dust and rubble. Daniel coughed, his ears ringing. He stumbled to his feet, looking for Solara. She was already standing, her hands glowing, her body surrounded by a shimmering blue aura. The enforcer stepped closer, its massive frame now towering outside the broken wall. Daniel grabbed a piece of metal pipe again, his knuckles white. He knew it was almost useless, but he couldn't stand still. Solara raised her hands, firing twin beams of energy at the monster. The blasts struck, but the enforcer barely staggered. Its armor glowed brighter, almost feeding off the attack. Daniel's stomach dropped. "It's stronger than you." Solara's voice was steady, though her eyes showed strain. "Yes, that is why you must choose now," Daniel shouted over the roar of the collapsing walls. "Choose what?" "Choose what kind of man you are. Run and survive a little longer, or fight and prove your world deserves to live." The enforcer's red eyes locked on him, glowing brighter. Daniel felt like his entire body was frozen in its gaze. Fear gripped him, telling him to run, to hide, to give up. But then he remembered the screams outside, the people in the streets, his neighbors, everyone who had no idea why this nightmare was happening. He looked at Solara. She was still fighting, her blue energy clashing against the red power of the enforcer. Sweat glistened on her skin, her strength slowly fading. Yet, she still stood tall. She was risking everything for him, and in that moment Daniel realized he could not run. He gripped the pipe tighter, his fear burning into something else. Anger. Not at Solara, not even at the enforcer, but at the rulers, whoever they were, who thought they could treat Earth like a game. Daniel stepped forward, shouting at the monster. "You want to test me? Fine, then test me." He charged, swinging the pipe with every ounce of strength he had. The enforcer swung its massive arm down, but Solara moved, blasting it just enough to make it strike miss. Daniel's pipe slammed into the glowing crack of its armor. For a split second, red sparks burst out. The enforcer staggered slightly. It wasn't much, but it was something. Solara's eyes widened. "Yes, Daniel, yes. You see now, you can fight," Daniel panted, his arms trembling. "I'm not strong, but I won't let them take my world. I won't let them take you." The enforcer roared, its glowing eyes burning brighter than ever, and then, just as it raised its arms for another attack, the black box pulsed violently. The metallic voice filled the air once more. "Subject has made his choice. Continue escalation. Prepare termination sequence." Daniel's heart froze. He turned to Solara. "Termination sequence? What does that mean?" Her face went pale, her glowing eyes filled with dread. "It means they are done watching. Now they mean to kill you." The room shook as the enforcer's eyes blazed brighter. Daniel felt the weight of its gaze like a crushing stone on his chest. The black box pulsed violently, filling the air with the metallic voice that froze his blood. Termination sequence engaged. Human subject marked for deletion. Daniel staggered back. "Deletion?" His voice cracked. "What the hell does that mean?" Solara's glowing eyes darkened with fear. For the first time since she appeared, Daniel saw her mask of calm begin to break. "It means they are finished testing. They do not want to see more. Now, they mean to erase you." Daniel's stomach twisted. "Erase me? Like, kill me?" Solara's lips pressed tightly. "Yes. And if you die, your world follows." The enforcer raised its arms. Red light gathered between its hands, forming a sphere of deadly energy. The air hummed like a storm ready to break. Daniel's body locked in terror. He wanted to move, to run, but his legs felt frozen. Then Solara moved. Her body glowed brighter than ever, a shield of blue energy surrounding Daniel just as the enforcer's attack fired. The blast hit her shield with a deafening roar, shaking the building. The floor cracked. Walls split apart. Daniel fell to his knees, covering his head. When the dust cleared, Solara was still standing, but her shield flickered, weak and unstable. Her face was pale, sweat glistening on her brow. Daniel rushed to her side. "Solara, stop, you can't hold it." Her voice was strained. "If I stop, you die. If you die, everything ends." Daniel grabbed her arm. "There has to be another way." Before she could reply, the black box pulsed again, This time the metallic voice sounded harsher, colder. Unit Solara, return to base. Termination must proceed. Do not resist. Solara froze. Her glowing eyes flickered like fading stars. For a moment Daniel thought she would ignore it, but then her body trembled. Her voice grew heavy. They are pulling me back. Daniel's eyes widened. Pulling you back? What do you mean? Her silver hair lifted as if caught by invisible hands. Her body glowed, her feet lifting slightly from the floor. She looked at Daniel with pain in her eyes. They are calling me. I cannot fight them. Daniel's chest tightened. No, don't go. Stay with me. She reached toward him, her glowing hand trembling. Daniel, I do not want to leave. But if they take me, you must survive alone. Daniel's throat burned. I can't survive without you. Not against that thing. Not against them. Her voice cracked, something raw and human breaking through. You can. You must. Daniel shook his head wildly, grabbing her hand. Solara, please don't let them take you. For a moment she held his hand tightly, her eyes filled with conflict. But then the pull grew stronger. Her body was dragged backward, light surrounding her like chains. No! Daniel screamed. He lunged forward, but his hands passed through her as her body turned to light. Solara! Her final words echoed in his mind, not spoken but felt. Wait for me. I'm coming back. And then she was gone. The room was silent, except for Daniel's ragged breathing. The enforcer still stood, its red eyes glowing like twin suns. Without Solara, the apartment felt darker, colder, emptier. Daniel fell to his knees, his pipe still clutched in his trembling hand. His chest burned with hopelessness. I can't do this. I can't. The enforcer stepped closer, its massive frame shaking the ground. It raised its arm again, red energy building for the final strike. Daniel shut his eyes, bracing for the end. But instead of death, he heard the voice again. The cold, metallic tone filled the air. Observation continues. Final judgment near. Human subject must face last trial. Alone. The enforcer lowered its arm. Instead of firing, it simply stood, watching. Its glowing eyes locked on Daniel, like a predator savoring the fear of its prey. Daniel opened his eyes slowly, confusion mixing with terror. Why aren't you finishing me? No answer came, only silence and those burning red eyes. Daniel staggered to his feet, anger boiling beneath his fear. He shouted into the empty air, You cowards! You think this is a test? Watching me suffer, watching her get dragged away? You think that proves anything? His voice echoed through the ruined apartment. But deep inside, Daniel knew. This was exactly what they wanted. They wanted to see if he could stand when everything had been taken from him. He looked at the broken window, at the distant stars hidden beyond the city's smoke. Solara was up there somewhere, trapped, maybe fighting, her own battle. And she had asked him to wait. But waiting wasn't enough. Daniel gripped the pipe tighter, his hands raw. His voice grew firm even through the tremble in his chest. I don't care if I have to face you or your enforcer or whatever else you throw at me. I won't give up. Not for you. Not for your rulers. I'll fight for her. And for my world. Toding. Enforcer's red eyes blinked once as if acknowledging his words. Then it stepped back into the shadows of the street, its massive body fading until it was gone. Daniel was left alone in the broken silence. His apartment was in ruins. His heart ached with loss. But a new fire had been lit inside him. Solara was gone, for now. But he knew she would come back. And when she did, they would fight together. He whispered into the night, his voice low but steady. I'll be ready. Far above, unseen by human eyes, the alien rulers watched in silence. and for the first time, their interest in a single human grew stronger. The city lay in silence after the enforcer vanished. Daniel stood alone in his ruined apartment, surrounded by shattered glass and broken machines. His chest rose and fell heavily, his pipe still clutched in his shaking hand. Solara was gone, dragged away by her masters, leaving him with nothing but her last words echoing in his mind. "Wait for me. I'm coming back," Daniel whispered into the empty room. "Please, come back." But the only reply was the faint hum of the black box. Its glow flickered, then symbols burned across its surface once again. Final trial begins. Human subject will be judged. Daniel's blood ran cold. Judged? By who? Before he could finish, the air split apart above the city. A massive alien ship descended through the clouds, larger than any building, its surface alive with glowing red lines. Its shadow swallowed entire blocks. The ground trembled as people screamed and scattered. Daniel stumbled to the broken window. His stomach twisted. "They're here. The rulers." The ship's underside opened, releasing beams of red light that struck the streets. Out of the beams marched an army of machines, hundreds of them, each with glowing eyes, weapons fused into their arms. The ground shook with their march. Daniel's knees weakened. "I can't fight that, and I can't fight all of them." The black box pulsed again. "You will fight, or your world will fall." Daniel laughed bitterly, fear and anger mixing. One man against an army, that's not a test, that's murder. And then, the air shimmered. A beam of blue light burst into the room. Daniel shielded his eyes. When the light faded, Solara stood before him, wounded, her silver suit torn, her glowing aura dim. But she was there. Daniel's chest filled with relief. "Solara," she staggered, barely standing. "I broke free. But they know. They will not stop now." Daniel rushed to her side, catching her as she nearly collapsed. "You shouldn't have come back. They'll kill you." Her eyes softened. "I told you, Daniel. I don't want to be their weapon anymore. I choose to stand with you." The ground shook again as the machine army drew closer. The enforcer reappeared at the front, its red eyes brighter than ever. Behind it, the alien ship loomed like a god watching its prey. Daniel helped Solara to her feet. He looked at her, his voice steady. "Then we fight. Together." Solara's lips curved into a faint smile. Together, the first wave of machines charged. Red blasts tore through the streets, shattering cars and buildings. Daniel and Solara ran out of the ruined apartment, stepping into the open battlefield. Solara raised her trembling hands. Blue energy burst out, striking the nearest drones, sending them crashing into the ground. Daniel swung his pipe, smashing one that got too close. Sparks flew as it fell in pieces, but there were too many. They kept coming. Daniel panted, his body screaming with exhaustion. "We can't stop them all." Solara's glowing eyes burned brighter, though her body shook. "We don't have to stop them all. We only have to show them that we will never kneel." The enforcer stepped forward, towering over them. Its voice rumbled, mechanical and cold. "Resistance is useless. Termination required." Daniel's fear turned into fire. He screamed at the monster, charging forward. Solara followed, her hands glowing so bright they lit the battlefield. The enforcer swung its massive arm, but Solara caught it with both hands. Blue energy clashed with red power, the ground splitting beneath their feet. Daniel ran to its side, slamming the pipe again and again into the glowing crack of its armor. The enforcer roared, stumbling backward. Sparks and smoke burst from its chest. Solara shouted, her voice breaking with strain. "Now, Daniel, strike." Daniel raised the pipe one last time, screaming with every ounce of strength he had left. He drove the metal deep into the enforcer's glowing chest. A massive explosion of red and blue light erupted, throwing Daniel across the street. The enforcer collapsed, its red eyes fading into darkness. Daniel lay on the ground, gasping for air. His whole body ached, but he forced himself to stand. Solara staggered beside him, her glow flickering weakly. Together, they looked up at the massive alien ship. For the first time, it was silent. Watching. Waiting. Then the black box's voice filled the sky, louder than thunder. Observation complete. Human subject shows strength beyond expectation. Humanity will be spared. For now. The ship's red lights dimmed. Slowly it rose back into the clouds, vanishing into the stars. The machine army dissolved into dust, leaving the streets empty. Silence fell over the city once more. Daniel dropped the pipe, his knees weak. He turned to Solara. She was barely standing, her glowing eyes fading. He caught her in his arms. Solara, stay with me, please. Her voice was faint, almost a whisper. You proved them wrong. You proved humans are stronger than they believe. Daniel's throat tightened. We proved it, you and me, together. Solara's lips curved into the smallest smile. Yes, together. Her body trembled, her glow fading. Daniel held her tighter. Don't leave me, not now. She placed her hand gently on his chest. I am not leaving, not truly, but remember this, Daniel. Others will come. This was only the beginning. Her hand slipped, her body falling still in his arms. Daniel's eyes burned with tears. He looked at her peaceful face, then up at the stars where the alien ship had disappeared. His heart ached, but inside it burned a new fire. Solara had given him hope, and now it was his turn to carry it. Daniel whispered to the night, his voice steady and strong. If others come, I'll be ready. And somewhere, far above, unseen by human eyes, the rulers listened. For the first time in countless years, they felt something they had almost forgotten, doubt, because one human had stood and he had not stood alone.